From almost the time the '98 Western Final had ended, most on the Cathedral Prep football team were not thinking about what could have been, but what was still to come. It would be an off-season unlike any other in school history. An off-season with one thing in mind.
This year we're expecting a lot of good things out of our team and hope for a better result going to state finals hopefully.
Like our coach said, we're like the Green Bay Packers. We got to come out and play like it now. So we have a lot of pressure on us, but we still have to work real hard every day.
The preseason pollsters literally did the unthinkable in ranking Prep in the top 5 in the state. That was borderline shocking, considering the final poll 1 year earlier had 10 teams ranked, all from the eastern part of Pennsylvania. After 2-day workouts and a pair of scrimmages, the Ramblers were ready to play for real, and they didn't care who knew about it.
I mean, we need fresh meat. We're getting sick of hitting each other, and it would be nice to get in there and put other people for a chance.
Game 1 went according to plan with a 61-0 blowout at Latrobe. Now it was time for the Erie community to see what all the fuss was about. Debuting at home on a rare Thursday night against Buffalo St. Francis, the Orange and Black had no desire to be in a tight tilt similar to last year's matchup. A 21-0 lead in the first quarter set the stage for things to come. The defense was able to tee off all night, recording a safety en route to a route, 57-0. Preseason first-team All-Stater Damon Sanders also put the rest of PA on high alert, rushing for 167 yards. Though many would concur that it's more fun to see the ball flying through the air, a strong running game usually serves as the bread and butter. In Prep's case, it was the main entree. Paced by Sanders in the early going, the 99 Ramblers would rush for a school record 3,818 yards. But this was by no means a one-man show. Sophomore Jawan Walker saw limited duty the year before as a fourth-string tailback. 1 year later, he could make a case to start just about anywhere in the country. When it was all said and done, the 10th grader had topped the 1,000-yard mark, adding a hard-to-believe 22 touchdowns. Junior Jason Easter was used sparingly in reserve, but made the most of his touches with 3 TDs. And junior Tim Dance also showed great bursts when he got an opportunity, averaging 7.3 yards a carry and making this backfield arguably the deepest in Pennsylvania. The yards kept coming for this stable of running backs, and one need not look far for a reason. Prep's offensive line was big, deep, and surprisingly quick. Paced by seniors Jonathan Sitter, Jeff Bomba, Greg Kuyaba, and Scott Kuczynski, along with juniors Charles Rush and Matt Parsons, gaping holes became the norm, not the exception. Capable reserves were able to step in at any time without missing a beat, as Justin Gregorszewski, Dale Williams, Ed Brown, and Andrew Mullen all were inserted at key times. Don't forget lead blocker Chad Lino, who crunched people from his fullback spot, and tight ends Jason Dolak, Jake Lynch, and Joe Dupre. This group helped Prep average a mind-numbing 6.6 yards a carry. Off to a 2-0 start, many in the area were wondering just how good this team really was. All their head coach was thinking about was redemption.
St. Joe's a good football team. They beat us last year on their home field, 28-14, and they took it to us. I don't think we were ready for them last year, but this is a whole different year. They're ranked in some polls that we're not ranked, and we're ranked in some that they're not. So, on paper, it should be, pretty evenly matched, and I think people are going to see a good football game Friday night.
It's encircled. It's a little bit of a revenge factor because it did come out and get us last year, but I think this year we have the tools, we have the talent, and we're ready to go.
A year before, St. Joe's had handed Prep a tough loss on their home field. Now they were coming to the stadium ranked number 1 in the state of New York and number 9 in the East region by Fox Sports. The pollsters would see plenty of points on this Friday night, and chances are they left the building scratching their heads. The statement was made on the first drive of the game, the home team going 66 yards down the field for the first points of the evening. They would not be the last. A shoestring stop by Terrence Bibbs on 4th and goal at the 1 shut the door, setting up just your average 95-yard drive. And while St. Joe's would do what two teams could not, that's score points, they only put 7 of them on the board. Meantime, the Prep offense just kept coming. Senior quarterback Eric Carlson, who would emerge as one of the state's best, threw a perfect rope to Josh Lustig to end the half. So much for what the Empire State had to offer. The final score, Cathedral Prep 56, number 1 St. Joe's 7. 8 days later, the Ramblers would finish their home tour of Buffalo schools by playing a feisty bunch from Bishop Timon. The casual observer also got a bonus, a competitive game. With Sanders nursing a knee injury, Jawan Walker stepped up in his coming-out party. He ran for 226 yards and 4 touchdowns. The defense gave up just 6 points, meaning they had allowed all of 13 through 4 games. They would shine again 6 days later in holding All-State running back Tony Johnson in check for the second time in less than a year. Prep went on the road and won at State College 28-7, helping the club improve to 5-0 on the season. In just his second year as head coach, Mike Mishler was not ready for a 4 or 5 year rebuilding program. He had coached just 19 varsity games, but could sense this team had the makings of a great one. Coach and team then went out to avenge another loss. Last October, Prep went to Berea and were humiliated by Cleveland St. Ed's 27-0. The score would be even more lopsided this time around. Redemption is sweet.
There you go. Good play. All right. All right. Well,
I was listening to Jake and I just listened to you.
okay. Well, good. All right. Hey, well, we'll look at the film. I know. I was a little bit worried about that getting sick, but all right. Play action's gonna stink right now because we got 4th and forever. Can we hit that 4 route across? Yeah. Was this guy flag happy? I mean, we're taking two scores off the board, you know? I mean, what are we in, Orange? With holding from our line. We haven't had a holding call almost all year. Bill, right? Yeah. I mean, they had my guy deep by his jersey dragging him, and you guys didn't see that. 24X pass. Hit it right away, Eric, okay? 24X pass. Where's Mays? Hey, Eric, Carlson, come here. Have you gotten a read on their coverage? Are they in man or what are they in? I think they're in too deep, aren't they? No. What? They're in man? Yeah. They're not that tight. Ryan, have you gotten a read on their coverage?
They're in man.
They're in man?
They got this guy out here pressed up. They got the safety kind of floating, and they got just manned up on those guys.
Any suggestions?
I think the load option X, 25.
Let's go. Z left, 14, load X. Get Bob at tail. Chad at the other one. Let's go. Z right, hey, Z right, come here. Z right, 29X. Come on. Should be up.
The only negative in a 41-6 pasting of the perennial Ohio Kingpins was a major injury. While playing defense, Sanders was hit while his foot was planted. The bone in that foot was fractured, jeopardizing the rest of his high school career.
Relax, Bob, relax.
Was your foot planted when he hit it? All right, hang in there, Bob. Okay, buddy? We're with you, man.
Without their rushing leader, the Orange and Black looked to keep a good thing going against Altoona. And this offense that looked more like old Loyola Marymount from basketball days gone by just kept on motoring. They rang up 29 points in the first quarter alone, with Dave Leisenring getting a rare carry that turned into a 24-yard score. Even a negative turned into a positive, as Ed Hinkle's improvisation on an extra point resulted in not one but two. 7-0 was the record after a 57-7 shellacking of Altoona. The kicking game was paced by senior Jason Dolak, who proved he was in great shape, considering all the work his right leg was getting. He would finish the season with 67 extra points, a school record for one campaign, helping him to also set the mark for a career. Hinkle handled the majority of punting duties while Tom Morgan stepped in on kickoffs. His boots may not have sailed into the end zone, but high-angled kicks would prove to benefit Prep down the stretch. 7 for 7 may have been nice, but it meant nothing if it was not followed up with an 8th straight victory against the only team that matters. Now third in the state, Prep ventured to Mill Creek for a McDowell club, thinking upset. Early on, the ground game was shut down. Oh well, let's just go to Plan B. Throwing into a tight wind did not bother Eric Carlson, who spotted Hinkle for an 11-yard score with only 2 minutes left in the first half. It proved to be the first of 5 touchdowns in an 8-minute stretch. Carlson would connect twice with Josh Lustig. Walker added 174 yards, and shutout number 3 was in the bag as the defense surrendered a paltry 96 yards of total offense to the Trojans. Prep 35, McDowell, nothing.
Our kids, though, I can't say more about them because they're just all quality kids, and they're just top-notch kids, and they work hard, and they got great character, and I think that showed in the second half.
In order to guarantee a playoff spot in the cloudy at best District 10 picture, Prep needed to complete a perfect season with a victory versus Central. Again, the passing game was sharp. For the second week in a row, Carlson would throw 3 TD passes. Walker rumbled for 4 more scores as the Ramblers polished off the Falcons 56-12. The regular season was history, with Prep having outscored their opponents 419-45. Do the quick math. That averaged out to 47-5 each time this crew hit the gridiron. The preseason was over at 9-0, but no team gets a free ride to Chocolatetown based on what they do prior to the playoffs. Getting an extra week to rest with the District 10 taking only 2 local clubs to the postseason, Prep came in fresh and prepared to meet McDowell for the second time this year. And after scorching the Trojans through the air for 3 touchdown passes during their first encounter, the Ramblers again went up top. Eric Carlson had a field day, spotting Josh Lustig to overcome an early 7-6 deficit. Carlson would hook up with Ed Hinkle twice, throwing 4 TDs on the night, but finding one hero on this evening was simply impossible. Hinkle would continue to inflict damage, this time dancing 65 yards on a punt return. Jawan Walker touched it 24 times, rushing for a career-high 305 yards. It had become blatantly clear to any naysayers. This club was a powerhouse. For the second consecutive year, the Ramblers were District 10 champs, smoking McDowell 54-14. In the deep history that is Erie football, there has never been a team with such offensive balance as this Ramblers outfit. While they were a machine running the ball, Prep had just as much success through the air, and much of that could be attributed to Metro League Player of the Year Eric Carlson. The senior QB completed 75 of his 153 tosses for 1,683 yards and 22 touchdowns, while being intercepted just 7 times. Carlson made sure he spread the wealth. Josh Lustig led the team in receptions with 25 and touchdowns with 9. Ed Hinkle caught 19 balls, averaging a team-high 28.8 yards a catch, while snaring a half dozen for scores. And senior Garrett Mays made 10 receptions for 4 touchdowns. The passing game was vertical and dangerous, leaving opponents scratching their heads when it came time to slow down this arsenal. In 1998, Prep went on the road to Pittsburgh and put a 36-0 hurtin' on Shenley. This season, the interdistrict playoffs would open with the same matchup. The Spartans were undefeated and had won the Pittsburgh City League title for the first time since some guy named Joe Moore was playing for them. Thus, you expected a close game at the stadium, with 2 state writers even predicting a Shenley upset. And this game was close until just after the coin toss. With Damon Sanders returning to the lineup for the first time since his injury, the Ramblers went nuts. An early 14-0 lead grew when the defense scored a touchdown as Eric Field picked up the loose ball and went the distance. The avalanche was just beginning. Carlson went 33 yards to Garrett Mays on what proved to be a pick-your-score night. In the end, the final was 70-0, but had the Dogs not been called off, it easily could have topped triple figures. Vaunted Shenley running back Tayon Mitchell probably should have called in sick, as he carried the ball 14 times for a grand total of -5 yards. The road to Chocolatetown would now have to be won on the road, with a date with Hollidaysburg now awaiting in their backyard in Altoona. The Golden Tigers were coming off an upset win over State College, capturing that game with a key goal line stand down the stretch. And their defense made a key play early against the Ramblers, intercepting Eric Carlson near the Prep end zone. But that positive quickly turned into disaster, as on the next play, Hollidaysburg fumbled the ball right into the hands of Sanders, who looked like he was on offense and hurtling into the pile for a touchdown. And though the offense was not nearly as sharp as they were a week earlier versus Shenley, they added 3 scores of their own in a game that was never in doubt. The final was Prep 27, Hollidaysburg nothing. And for the second year in a row, the Ramblers were in the state's Final Four. It seems like most of the season, the one stat you continued to hear was Prep's scoring average, 47 points a game. Yet many forgot to look at the next number, 5, the amount of points this team yielded per outing on defense. There may not have been a better unit in the entire state. Up front, the big boys of Jonathan Sitter, Charles Rush, Mike Cray, and Eric Field made running the football an occupational hazard. If that foursome did not make the tackle, the linebackers did. Joe Dupre led the team with 97 stops and was someone opponents got real used to seeing. Tom Morgan stepped up midway through the season and made an impact. And Jake Lynch would have stood out on most clubs had the talent around him not been so great. But perhaps the strength of this unit came in the back line. The secondary was so deep that 6 players made All-Metro. Jason Easter and Josh Lustig were ferocious, in-your-face cover guys at the corner. Damon Sanders, Jawan Walker, and Ed Hinkle all made a huge impact at safety, while Garrett Mays stepped in to lead the group in interceptions with 7. The defense would collect 21 picks for the season and were in the face of other quarterbacks all year long. Sitter picked up 10 sacks, with Cray not far behind with 9.5. Jason Dolak, Matt Parsons, Justin Gregorszewski, and others pitched in too, as Prep gave up an average of 2.2 yards per rush. The defense was the backbone of this team and paved the way for what had turned into a 12-0 start. But redemption in the Western Finals would not be easy. The WPIAL representative was Woodland Hills, a club that was perfect in 13 starts. But early on, they made a glaring mistake.
And it's a low punt. Hinkle's going to have to let it bounce, but it takes a bounce to him at the 45. Here he comes up over the 40, the 35, the 30. Straight down the field, 25! Touchdown, Cathedral Prep! Ed Hinkle.
From there, this would prove to be a classic battle of back-and-forth football. Twice, Prep would take 11-point leads, with one of those coming in the second half.
Let's see if he decides to take it himself. He does, and he is into the end zone for a Cathedral Prep touchdown.
But the Wolverines would not go away. They pocketed 2 TDs to answer, taking a 23-20 lead down the stretch, and the dream season seemed to be slipping away. For a team that had set scoring records and given fans a slew of memories, they needed one drive to Hershey.
3rd and 9 at the 36-yard line. Ramblers need to get it to about the 45 to pick up a first down. Carlson to throw, under some pressure. Little screen to Hinkle. Has it at the 40. 45, midfield, breaks through at the 40. Cuts back towards the middle, still on his feet. And he is finally brought down at the 23-yard line. What a run by Ed Hinkle as the clock continues to wind. 3rd down and 4. Lustig out of the right. Here comes Hinkle in motion. Carlson wants to throw, so back high pressure. Looks to throw, fires to the end zone. It is caught, and it is a touchdown for Cathedral Prep. The Ramblers score with 1:35 remaining.
Gary, what can you say? That's that senior leadership by Eric Carlson to take him down the field. Scored a touchdown there. It's just a fantastic play by Ed Hinkle again.
It was in the corner of the end zone, and the only question was, did he get inbounds and make the catch? And Carlson with a bullet, as you see. Hinkle with the catch right on the sideline. A good one for the touchdown. Here's another look at it. Beautiful work. He was clearly in bounds and got over the goal line and into the end zone for the touchdown.
With the lead, it was time for the defense to make it hold up. That was not an easy chore, as this was a tired bunch. But the Ramblers would not allow highly thought-of QB Shante Spencer to beat them. 4 times Woodland Hills was turned away in the final seconds, as Prep held on for a scintillating 27-23 victory. One of the greatest wins in the city's history left some players speechless, while others, well, they were rather descriptive.
You know, I think, it's hard to explain. Everyone, we busted our balls all game, and, it came down last play, and we knew we had it, we knew, we were down, but no one gave up, and, we've been working all year, no one was giving up, practices, games, whatever, everyone gives full throttle, and, we did the job.
They're a great team. They had a lot of speed, and I'm so great that our secondary stuck in there and fought the way they fought. That team got a lot of heart that nobody thought they had, and I think we're in a lot of respect now.
Well, I'm going to give you a commercial here, but these Prep kids and this school and everything that we're about, I just have so much love for these guys, and they're such good kids, and I'm so proud of them and this school and this community in Erie, Pennsylvania. This puts Erie back on the map, and I'm just so happy for for us, and finally the District 10 got through, and that goes to a lot of the other schools, who, McDowell and Central and those guys who fought hard over the last couple of years, and hopefully they're enjoying a little bit of what we're doing today as well.
Woodland Hills had learned one important lesson, but they were a bit tardy in learning it. You do not kick the ball to Ed Hinkle. He returned 16 punts on the season and took a quarter of those to the house. He averaged an incredible 22.6 yards a return, making Sports Illustrated for taking 4 of his first 5 into the end zone for touchdowns. It was the matchup everyone predicted at the beginning of the season. It was the matchup everyone wanted. And it was the matchup we were about to get. Unbeaten and second-ranked Cathedral Prep, now 9th in the country, against unbeaten and top-ranked Central Bucks West, 4th in the country, and winners of 44 games in a row.
This means a lot to me. It means a lot to all the seniors on the team, because we work real hard during the year to get to this point right now.
I think about it every day, and it's like it's not really real. It's you're dreaming still, but you know that it's here and you know it's time to play. So,
Coach Mitch will say every week, this team's real good, even if they're not good. He has us ready week in and week out. Coach Moore, the whole coaching staff. And I think that's one of the main reasons why we stay together as a team, down in the locker room, no fighting, everyone just stays together and goes out there and plays week in and week out.
This is an amazing feeling right now, especially after the thrilling game that we had on Friday, where we had all the Hershey Kisses raining down on us. It was a great feeling.
We've really appreciated all the support and the backing from the people who have been, Prep supporters out there, but we've had an equal number of people saying that we're just not that good of a team. We haven't been tested, and I'm not going to say we put all of them to rest, all those rumors to rest with a win over Woodland Hills, but I think it went a long way to show how much heart this team has and how much desire we had, and really, I think it does say we are a good football team here.
The matchup proved to be an epic struggle. Bucks scored first, only to see the Ramblers counter on Eric Carlson's TD strike to Ed Hinkle on a 4th down pass play. Tied at 7 in the 3rd quarter, Damon Sanders burst 17 yards for the go-ahead score. The defense is dominated, with neither club giving an inch.
No gauge. We'll bring up second and 10. Bill be dropping well on that carry.
In the end, Bucks would prevail on a blocked punt recovery for a touchdown. They would win their third straight state title, 14-13. But this 99 Prep team was not your typical we gave it a great try, but lost. 3 other teams in the USA Today Top 25 lost that week, and they all dropped out of the rankings. The Ramblers didn't budge, staying at number 9. Proving they were one of the best teams in the entire country. 3 players, Damon Sanders, Charles Rush, and Joe Dupre made first team All-State.
Rambler defense led by number 40, Joseph Dupre.
Mike Mishler was honored by the Steelers as their Coach of the Year, and the Times News voted the Ramblers the greatest high school football team in Erie.